I tried 3 different icebreakers in last week's synchronous teaching, where half of my students were there in person and half were there on Zoom. And by far and away, there was one that worked much better than the other 2. If you want to know which one that is, go ahead and keep watching this video. Hi there, I'm Erica from Ever Educating, and this channel is for new college instructors, especially those who might be new to online teaching and hybrid teaching, which has been my recent focus in my videos throughout the summer and still currently. But like I said, I have actually a whole playlist on icebreakers, 2 videos for online icebreakers, 2 videos for face-to-face icebreakers. But today I'm talking about a hybrid one that worked really well. And that icebreaker is what I call Me Too, or you might know it as I am or I do too. And so the way it works is you have the students in class and also your students on Zoom, you have the chat up on the screen. So it's projected on the screen, the chat function. If they can't speak aloud, like they're somewhere where they have to be quiet, then they can just use the chat function. If they can speak, then they're going to unmute themselves if they're not somewhere loud. And so the way it works, it's just finding out similarities between people in the classroom. So I start and I said, I'm Cuban American, because I'm somewhere that's Hispanic serving. So I knew there'd be at least one person there who would say, me too. So then you have, okay, well maybe 3 people say me too. You choose one of them. Right? So, Sarah, you go next. Say something about yourself that you think someone else here will have in common with you. And so Sarah might say, I play guitar. And again, anybody says me too. So in person, obviously, it's very easy to hear. They just say aloud and raise their hand. But what's great is it's very short to type in the chat. So the people on Zoom don't fall behind. So the ones that can speak, off mute, they can obviously just say me too as well. But if they can't, they can easily type me too or just like me, right? And so it can be a very quick response so that all of them are playing almost simultaneously. And so you just want to make sure that obviously you're facilitating. So let's say you have someone says, I play the guitar, and you have some me too's in person and me too's on Zoom. Rather than having that person pick somebody, I pick instead. So that way it's easier to balance to make sure the Zoom people are also playing. So I might say, okay, who said me too on Zoom? And so someone will say it again if they're not using the chat function. And I'll say, okay, Matt, you go next. What do you want to say? And then, he'll go and he'll be, I'm left-handed, right? And so it was actually really fun. Students enjoyed this, and it was really easy to manage with all of them at once. Because we also tried 3 truths and a lie, but that didn't work well because even if I use a chat function to have students guess on Zoom which is a lie that someone's saying, it takes so much longer to type, and you have to, then take notes like, okay, 5 of you think this is a lie. Let me count here. Oh, 3 of you think this is a lie. It takes too long, and it really, takes us out of the fun of the activity. So that one didn't go as well. And then the other one that I tried that I mentioned in my other video about practicing Zoom was practicing screen sharing. And so I said to them, you're on the beach, you pick up a magic seashell, a sorceress says, you can have your greatest wish granted, but first you have to study one topic for 30 hours, because I teach writing. So what would be that topic? And so I had them screen share if they were on Zoom and show that topic so they can make sure they all know how to do that function. But the ones in class were bored out of their mind because we had to go through every single person on Zoom and click that button, now click here, oh, your settings are off, all right, this is where you go. And so it was a very long process, which was needed because screen sharing will be happening all the time in my class, but it wasn't fun, right? And it was very time consuming. And a lot of my students on Zoom were using their phones, which you can't really screen share with. So in that case, they just talked about their topic, but it didn't really serve the purpose of the icebreaker, which was practicing the screen sharing function. So by far and away, me too, or I do too, or I am too, is the way to go as far as hybrid icebreakers, because it's fun, it's really easy to do, and it's easy to manage as well. So if you haven't started your classes yet, I really recommend trying it out. But if you have your own suggestions for an icebreaker that work really well in hybrid form, go ahead and let me know below in the comments, because I would love to know for future reference. If you like this video, please go ahead and click the like button. And if you're not subscribed yet, you can do that too. And remember, I have a whole playlist of icebreakers that you can see that I've linked below.